Okay, one more quick video. I want to just talk a little bit about the aux out and how that works and how we're using it in this setup. Let me see, is it this one? Yeah, it's a little ukulele one. Let's go ahead and we're going to set this for maximum gain. You turn the PFL on and we'll just get a healthy amount of signal over here, so that's good. Because we want to, in this circumstance, we're definitely worried about how much signal is starting here because we're going to use the auxes now. One of the situations that I mentioned before, that like using the musical mics and stuff like that, usually we're not routing very much through aux outs. I don't usually put those mics through monitors. If I do, it's not a tremendous amount of signal that's going to come out of it. So I'm not so worried about where the aux goes. But all of your signal coming into the board, the first stop is the gain knob, and everything after that is affected by the gain. That includes EQ, that includes aux outs. In this board, we have an effect loop, and then the main fader that goes and routes it to the main out. So gain is important to set, and that's why a lot of people really like to have a solid amount of signal here. I think it's a trade-off. I think you can get a little less gain and a little more resolution by having the fader closer to unity, because again, like, that's loud. That's going to be loud, and that may not work for your sound environment. But you know, for this purpose, we're going to use the aux, so I want to make sure I have a lot of signal. On this setup, aux 1 goes directly to our monitors. So coming from the top to the bottom, we got the EQ, high, mid, low, and then aux 1, aux 2, aux 3, aux 4. Aux 1, if you notice, it's lined up across all these channels. So whatever I turn up on aux 1 then gets fed over to here on this board. Move these picks out of the way. This is the aux 1 send. So aux 1 then goes out. It's just like a separate out channel that can be routed independently of everything else. So your main fader adjusts the volume going to the main speakers, but in the case of the aux, it's going to this aux port out. For our setup, I have aux 1 routed to an amplifier on the right here, and then that goes to floor wedges for monitor speakers. So let's pretend this channel is a ukulele player on stage and they need to hear themselves in the monitor. So in that case, I've got aux 1 set to unity on its little mark right here, so I can then turn up aux 1. And now that's not coming from the main speakers at all. If I turn this up, now that's main speakers. This is just controlling the speakers that are on the floor pointed at the performer. So if I were running a monitor setup for a band, I would have to tune all of these aux 1s based on what the performers want to hear out of their speaker that's connected to aux 1. Aux 2, in this case, is not hooked up to anything. Aux 3, we have set up slightly differently. Now there's a button below aux 3 and 4 and aux 1 and 2 called pre. Pre allows us to send that signal pre the fader. So the fader's down right now. I can turn aux 1 up and it still goes to the monitor. If I switch this to post and turn it up, nothing will happen until I bring this fader up. Okay, the idea here is that pre allows you to have this be independent of the rest of the board. So it's perfect for monitors, because the monitors, you don't want this to affect what they're hearing on stage, because you may have to adjust the levels. If the ukulele player goes crazy and starts playing loud, you need to be able to bring them down. But you don't want that to make them less able to hear themselves in the mix, because then that'll complicate the problem. They'll just play louder or they'll start yelling at you. Both of which is not as much fun. So pre allows you to have this be pre-fader, independent of the faders, and it's kind of its own little mixing board just in this row of aux 1. So aux 3 I have set up as not pre, and the reason is that that's going to a subwoofer that is driving, we have drama students coming in, it's driving a separate channel. So I'm gonna actually bring up the bass. And this controls, if you hear and listen to that, it controls how much of the bass channel is actually going to the aux 3 and then to the subwoofer. That's called an aux fed sub. So not all of your aux situation is going to be particularly designed around going to monitors. In this case, it's feeding a separate speaker system for just the low frequencies. And you can see I got the little RTA still going. If I really bump that up, see the notes kind of coming through there with the bass player. And then when I turn that aux down, that reduces a little bit. So that's another use of the aux output and how it's configured in this board.